Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be reviewing Later by Stephen King. This is his most recent novel that came out this year, and I believe it came out at the beginning of March, well, over here in the UK anyway. He does have another book coming out this year around the autumn time called Billy Summers, which I'm extremely looking forward to reading that. Um, I've been meaning to get to this one for a while. Obviously, I pre-ordered my copy, and I knew what the book was about because I read the synopsis. And if you want to know what the book says at the back, you can just pause it. And it was okay. It wasn't the best thing ever, but it wasn't the most terrible thing that I've read by Stephen King. But I'll go through that in my conclusion section of this video. I have been meaning to do this video sooner, but I have been kind of nervous about doing the book justice, as everyone I feel has actually talked about this book, so I know I'm late to the party, but better late than never. So before I tell you what the story is all about, I just want to say my usual things here, that this is going to be a spoiler-free video, as I know that this is a really recent release by King, and that some people may have not got round to reading this yet. So I'm not going to spoil this book whatsoever, but I am going to be talking about the plot. But I'm not going to give out any major spoilers, so no worries there. And also, this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding this novel. So this book introduces us to our main character called Jamie Conklin, who narrates this book. This book is told from Jamie's point of view, and he is in his mid-20s, I believe, and at the start of the book he is a very small boy, about 6. And because it's narrated in that way, it actually reminded me a lot of The Body and Revival, because it gave me them types of feels for, and reading this book actually reminded me a lot of Revival. It's nothing to do with them books. None of them books have any connections I know of anyway. It just reminded me of reading Revival. So Jamie has a very unique supernatural ability. And don't worry, I won't say what supernatural powers Jamie has, although at the beginning of the book it is made extremely obvious to the reader. And also his powers are referenced to a pop culture movie. So I'm not sure whether Stephen King was watching that particular movie and he got inspired by it. If you have read this, you know what movie I'm talking about. Jamie is living with his mother, who but his father is out of the picture. I believe the book says that he abandoned Jamie and his mother at a when Jamie was a small, or well, was a baby. But Jamie's mother knows about Jamie's supernatural abilities. She tells him that he shouldn't draw attention to himself, and that he should keep them to himself and don't tell anybody and keep it a secret. She knows that she cannot control his abilities or him using his abilities, and that's not really her intention. Her intention is to solely protect her son. She is extremely loving and caring towards Jamie. They are, I mean, their relationship is so tight. It even reminded me a lot about the relationship between, in the Stephen King novel Firestarter, with the father and the daughter. But her main priority is Jamie's safety and taking care of Jamie, whether he's a small boy or whether a grown man. And so we find out that Jamie's mother is working at a publishing company, which she has inherited from her uncle Harry, I believe his name is, who has got dementia, and he has been put into a care home. And he's more or less like a side character. He's mentioned throughout the book, but he's more or less in the background, or mentioned in several scenes. We find out that I think Jamie's mother is called Tia, and she has one really important client who writes these novels that outsell, and it gives them a lot of money. But just before he is about to finish one of his novels, he dies, and Jamie's mother takes him to the mansion where this writer lives, and wants him to help her try to find out how this book finished, and together they try to complete it. We find out that Jamie's mother has a lesbian lover called Liz, who is a police officer who is a bit of a grey character. She's not really good or bad, but she's extremely selfish, and she does think about herself a lot. So, as I might have said, Liz knows about Jamie's ability and what he can do, but she's very skeptical about it. But she uses this ability for her own advantage to make her more important in the police force, and maybe to give her promotions and to make her some sort of hero. I'm not sure what her motivations are, but what I do know about Liz is that she's extremely selfish and she only cares about herself, and that's all she cares about. She doesn't hurt or abuse Jamie whatsoever. She doesn't hit him or threaten him or anything like that. He just simply uses his ability. She takes Jamie to solve different cases and crimes. And yeah, that's all I really want to say about this book, really. Yes, I know I'm trying to be as brief as I can. This book does actually have references to other Stephen King's work, such as a novel in his Different Seasons collection. I won't say exactly what one it is or what story it references in this book, but it's extremely brief and vague, and it's only in about 1 or 2 sentences, but is there. And also, this book does have references to an element in the novel It. You don't have to have actually read It in order to understand this novel, but it does help. And this novel does actually end on a truth bomb. It just has some twists at the end, which every book, and also Stephen King book, should actually have a twist at the end. I won't say it was good or a bad twist, but it was kind of a unexpected twist. So I was thinking, okay, that's weird, but you know, it is what it is. The ending of this book, about how this book actually ended, I cannot remember entirely how this book finished up. But what I do, what I do remember is that this book is extremely well written. It's really short, and it's very simple and easy to read. And yeah, it was a really fun novel that you could pick up. Although it is published by Hard Case Crime, you up there, which also published Joyland and the Colorado Kid, which I have both in my room, which I still need to get to, which are on the back. This isn't a crime novel, guys. This isn't a crime novel. This is a horror, supernatural novel with touches of crime in it, or detective work, or whatever you want to call it. But this isn't a crime novel, so don't go into it thinking that it is. But this is a really great coming-of-age story. I would have actually liked this book to be a bit longer, but what can you do? But I had fun reading it. So that is my little review on Later. I know I've been super vague about this book, but there were a couple of things that I didn't want to mention. That I've been watching several people's videos on this novel, and they do mention stuff that I consider spoilers. But I try to do my best. I try to give you as much information about this book as I can, and about the stories and the characters. And I hope I've done the book justice and gave you guys enough information that you can use to gauge whether you want to read this book or not. So what I liked about this book is, because it's Stephen King, he is the master of characters and writing really great characters. And this book is no exception. This has some really great characters in this book. No one that's really memorable, but this is a comfortable read. If it's raining outside or if you have nothing to do whatsoever, this is a book which you can actually pick up and read in them situations. The characters of Jamie's mother, Liz to a certain extent, are all great characters, although as I said they're not really memorable, but they are comfortable and what I'm going to classify as safe characters. They aren't extremely deep. No one in this story has much of a character arc, or if any character arcs. No one changes. I mean, it starts at the beginning of the book one way and ends in a completely different way and learns some stuff. It's just a novel about Jamie and his family and people that he's met in his life going through these motions. I like the story. The story was absolutely really great. I really loved it. I loved the connections as a Stephen King fan. I loved all the connections. It's kind of like when you're reading it, you're like scanning through the pages and you're like, oh yeah, I actually know that. Oh, it's actually referencing this character, or it's referencing this building that was in this specific town, or it's mentioning this book. So you can see about how it's actually all connecting. So that is what I liked about this book. So one of the things I disliked about this book is that it seemed a bit unfocused. It didn't really have like a set goal, or you didn't know where it was going. Like, it seems to be going in different directions at times. It was at one point it was focusing on a supernatural idea, and then it went down a horror path at one point, and then it was going down a crime path at another point. And it seemed a bit unfocused. It gave me the impression that Stephen didn't know exactly what he wanted this plot to actually focus more on, or focus solely on. So instead of focusing on one thing, he maybe decided to focus on numerous things. I know that Stephen King writes, when he writes, he doesn't have a plan. So when he writes, he likes to have the characters figure things out by themselves, and he likes to, when he's writing, he likes to have the story unfold by itself, if that makes any sense at all. I would have liked this book to be a bit bigger than it was, or is, because it's about 250 pages long, and I would have liked if this book was at least 400, maybe 500 pages long. So we could have some time with these characters, because it was a really great book, but I would have liked it if it was a bit longer. So I'm going to rate Later by Stephen King a 3.5 stars out of 5. As it wasn't perfect, but it was a slightly above average novel from Stephen King. So in conclusion, this is a really acceptable book by Stephen King. This is a very readable book by Stephen King. If you have never read anything by this author before, you could read this. I wouldn't recommend that you read this one first. I recommend that you start off with classic Stephen King, such as Carrie, The Shining, what else? You got Misery, you got Christine, you got Night Shift, and I recommend that you start off with them, or at least read a couple of them before you get to this one. If you are a fan of Stephen King, and if you have read numerous works by him, then definitely pick this one up. It's nothing really outstanding. But I liked it. It wasn't, as I said, it's not terrible. It's just slightly above average for me. I did have fun reading this, and yes, of course, I will go back to it at one point. Yeah, it is what it is. It's just a really comfortable book to actually read. So that's it, guys. That is my review for Later by Stephen King. if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment down below, let me know if you've read this, if you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it. Let me know what your thoughts are on about it. Let me know also if you want me to do a spoiler video about this book, or a discussion video talking about the spoilers for it and more in depth. I wouldn't mind doing that if that's something that you guys would be interested in watching from my channel. Let me know if I've maybe encouraged or inspired you to pick this book up. So yeah, if you've liked this video, please consider subscribing to my channel, as it helps out so much. If you do subscribe, please click on that bell so it tells you whenever I upload videos, which are every Monday and Friday. And as always, I will put a link down below to my Goodreads account in case you want to follow me on Goodreads or send me a message or whatever. And with all that said, have a great day, read some awesome books, and I will see you all in my next video.